To bring an end to the Super Mario 64 Hack of 2023 Saga series, I'm gonna be honest with you. Saying that every video really got repetitive, but you wanna know what isn't repetitive? Come a little closer and watch this.
Here we go!
To see that, I got a star, and not only did I get a star, I didn't get sent back to the hub area.
Mamma mia!
To end off this competition showcasing of last year's big bangs of SM64 ROM hacking tournament, whatever you want to call it, is a ROM hack called Super Mario The Stolen Stars by JakeDower. Coming in at 4th place from the other 3 nominees, but regardless, this hack is a decent mid-size hack that doesn't go out of its way to do any flashy stuff when compared to the other 3 against it. The basic premise does change the cat and mouse story of old, with it being a matter of a helpless Mips has found himself behind a cage with no means of escape and no way to bypass through the cage using the invisible cap, so the toads around the island recommend facing the culprit who is responsible for this act of villainy. This is a very simple hack, very true to its vanilla ways of having 44 stars, and while we are in the day and age of decomps and advanced game-changing ROM hacks, a breath of fresh air of the past hacks can be had here. The hub itself isn't too much and is a clear, direct measure of giving the players a few tools they'll need for when they reach portions of levels that require them. You got your Super Mario worldly biomes of sceneries, of greeneries within the swampy woods, giant mushrooms of bright red. The background is giant trees towering across the land, making the actual tree centerpiece seem puny in comparison. I'll give the hacker one thing. This is the first I've ever seen a ROM hack use more than the expected 5 blue coins for a blue coin switch. Didn't know you can actually do that. But even with that being said, it kind of felt like it was kind of a means of a way of just giving out the coins, since the level itself is truly just a small little plateau and a big Deku tree in the background. But that didn't really steer away my appreciation for this level, especially when falling down a hole just to be able to make it back up to the surface, because during my playthrough I found out that there were several teleporters that gave you that chance to go back to where you just were if you didn't want to go the route that you found yourself in. But to go back down to that same hole and going ever so deeper resides a hidden lava cave with a sliding entrance, feeling like Rayman 2's Sanctuary of Stone and Fire lava pit dodging segment, and this level shows a well-designed lethal lava lands that I'd have to give my compliments to Bowser himself if it wasn't for him having no involvement to the things that are happening here. But it was at this point in my playthrough of this ROM hack where I had made the mistake of not making the cap switches my top priority, as going through a slow and steady automated checkerboard ride just to be halted by a giant grate that blocks the way and an invisible cap box spilling the beans on what I messed up on. It was great that there were spots to teleport back, but they mainly serve to cater in a way to just send you back to the beginning of said course. Not that I didn't know that I could just, pause and exit course that way. It's just one of those complaints that I had, since the ROM hack itself is a non-stop one, i.e. once you get a star get, you remain in the level, as I've already showcased before. So instead of getting the boot, it kind of made me wish it did kick me out just a little bit, just to make certain things feel reasonable. Not only that, but like entering a course would usually tell you an act, but this one it does not, and it throws the act system away, which that in itself kind of felt like a slap to the face, considering that when it came down to the act screen, you'd always get those mini hints or some sort of puzzle riddle to it that you would have to read on and then think, oh, I'm going to need this, something snazzy, so I don't have to wait through this long trek and then end up being disappointed when I'm just like, okay, alright, I guess I'll go activate the cap now, and then coming right back down from square one, and then bada bing bada boom. But just a minor nitpick. And even when it comes down to the pause screen itself, it's like it doesn't show anything besides the star, so what am I gonna be knowing? But to chill out for a moment, since things got a little bit overheated, in a good challenging way, with the baby penguin in this icy little domain who's been yeeted here because of a daisy or something. I don't really remember, something to that degree. It was a breeze to go through and a little good fun challenge to have, and having like some winter wonderland type of aesthetic at the end of it all. And even if you were to completely ignore the little one and going straight to the mother just to be scolded because you came back empty-handed, was a good chuckle to have here. But something I did come to like about this ROM hack though was how connected the levels were. While yes, you can just unlock the pipes placed inside of the cages that are also inside the hub, and once you have the correct amount of stars you have within said hub, then yeah, you can go inside of the pipes and then just have that shortcut there. But nothing beats the grandiose detail like white rings within the sky, and at the top of a tall tree, a sign boasting about going to the heavens with the use of the old reliable cannon as a means of transportation to a new location to discover. It just feels good when it comes down to ROM hacks that do have that kind of fine detail of the connectedness of the world, making it feel fleshed out. And even going to said world, the heavens above, a cloudy area with its infestation of piranha plants as you make your leisurely getaway to these high heights, strolling about, racing the very same Koopa the Quick as he's feeling very confident, oh so cocky, just to not only keep him in check, but to also reminding him what place on the food chain that he belongs on by going on some mafioso acts by killing his kids. I mean, hey, Mario needs that 100 coin star, so, you know, you either give it up or you give it up for that full completion. But you know, they just so happen to be rich anyway, so I'm pretty sure they got health insurance. Eating the rich aside, to refer back to the level's connectedness nature, there was this little rocket ship on the hill that you can see at the distance, which at a certain point when you're able to use the wing cap and go to it, it leads to outer space, into another little out of this worldly level. The ways of getting stars here are still basic in their execution, some a little bit more on the riskier side, like the main centerpiece of like being on a very tiny Saturn's rings, which are extra thick, but a grand tour to traverse around and about feels well detailed that could feel like it fit right in a very casual friendly Mario Galaxy level, just with that Super Mario 64 flair, and you know, the very death-defying moments of having to start all the way over if you decide to fall off because you just weren't skilled enough. I honestly can't really say too much without literally showing everything this hack has to offer, you know, it being small and all. But like the classic ROM hack nostalgia this brings me, I can say the same for its music tracks. But like the classic ROM hack nostalgic feeling this brings me, I can also say that the music tracks give me that same kind of feeling here, each fitting the levels it's set to and not counting the ones that are just regular Super Mario 64 tracks. But like you have this underwater cavern behind the main island, and inside has that tranquil Donkey Kong country music and the same kind of level design for it too. So those two type of elements complement each other hand in hand. The wood areas has that new Super Mario Bros. Either DS or maybe in the later games kind of music that while they do not contain any babas to be had in any way, I can still hear the chomping of piranha plants popping out of their pipes just to try to get a chance to just chomp on Mario. But you know, if they were only present here and not somewhere off in the sky. The lava area that has that same ancient groove to it and fitting that structural man-made light platforms and paths blocked by those who can't be invisible, adding on to that ancient discovery and discoverability to be had. But as expected of both levels consisting of being skybound, having Super Mario Galaxy music tracks just makes sense to have. And unlike the nostalgic feeling I get from this hack, the music isn't actual dog shit and is pretty good to listen to in this type of renditions when compared to the very old versions of it. For the most part, this ROM hack is a small taste to what the creator has been cooking up in the works for the past few years or so forth, and this is just a prequel of sorts to that ROM hack itself, being called Super Mario Earth's Invasion. But I do have to be honest, I'm a bit conflicted on this ROM hack being a nominee in a somewhat same way that Dog Collab was. The title to be called Hack of 2023, and while this hack technically stands on its own merit, it's still a means to flesh out a future hack, just the same way Dog Collab was like a collaborational hack. Meanwhile, the other two being their own standalone thing, and overall, with the one creator having that one type of creative freedom to everything and trying to work all the moving parts without having to rely on an eventual hack to be made or multiple other creators also helping in the matter or something to that extent. And overall, if this hack was part of a mini hack or mid-hack competition, or maybe even a entree prequel hack category, then yeah, maybe it'd have a fair chance. And by no means do I say this because of the hack's quality or any sort of biased theory crafting, but just the grand sight of it all. This compared to the others wasn't standing a chance, but it does deserve some kind of praise, even if it wasn't perfect in a lot of areas, as I found in my first playthrough. As a prequel to something bound to be bigger, and with what has been shown from the main major hack, it does bring some high hopes for what he's been cooking up for the past couple of years that it's been in the works. So check both this and that hack out when it releases. But this does indeed conclude my coverage for last year's category of SM64's Hack of 2023. While there is still a huge collection of other hacks to cover, I hope for what has been shown throughout my classic gaming coverage has been enough for you all to check them out for yourselves, along with the following of the creators for what they may come up with next. Congratulations to all the nominees and whoever else shared involvement in this thriving community, and may your creativities and passions never fade away. Okay, so after actually watching the rest of what has been shown in this award showing for Hack of 2023, apparently they weren't able to show more than 4 ROM hack slots or whatever. I mean, to be honest, having an in-game award show is already neat, but when shown a video of all nominees for the Hack of 2023, there was one more that got left out. I feel as though that is more than enough of a reason to extend this series by at least one more video. So until then, stay tuned and do the YouTube reviewer stuff if you want, and I'll get that video out soon enough. But until then, thanks for watching.